park compared to these other amenities you see in other counties is very minimal.
Okay. What are some current regulations that you feel create a disadvantage to businesses in Wright County? And what are some possible solutions? So, Leonard or Charlie, sorry.
Well, I think when we get to some of the regulations, and I don't know if I can be real specific, but when you get, let's say just housing. I built a house within the last 10 years, and the number of hoops that you have to jump through to build a house here, the number of drawings that you have to come up and then redraw it because they didn't like this, that happens. I keep hearing things about that all the time, and those are things that keep people away. You can maybe go a little further, have some less restrictions, and people are going to build out there. I think we need to relook at some of our building code things. As far as just, and I say to get specific on it is tough as far as the business right now, but we also have the same thing happening there. We have a lot of hoops that we have to go through, and some of it isn't even the county. Some of it's the EPA, the DNR, and you just hear horror stories. And I think I would address them one at a time, I guess. But we need to look at something to ease our regulation to make it easier for business overall.
I'll be a little bit of a contrarian. I've had some interaction with the county. I haven't had any problem with regulations in my life. I guess until I was on the county board, I wouldn't realize when people come to me and say, geez, Larry, this is going on. Did you know that? I'm going to say, I don't know that. Let's look at that. So being on the city council for 16 years, we've had regulations in town for zoning to keep the right type of housing, to keep businesses in the right place. And I've heard too, well, your regulations are onerous, they're expensive, they're this, they're that. We have those things a lot of times because it keeps the neighbors from fighting and coming to our meetings. So that's the truth. Most of the things that we do on that level come from citizens arguing with other citizens and bringing up those points. So I don't sit around and invent stuff to do. That's just to sort of organize things. So that's the short answer.
I've served on the EDA in St. Michael since 2001, and I would say that we have less regulations in Wright County, and we've found several businesses, U.S. Water, Marksman Metals, Cinch Systems. We have several new businesses that are coming into town. Hawkinson just moved from Osseo. The businesses are moving out of Hennepin County and moving into Wright County because we're an easier place to do business. They have not said that our regulations are onerous on them. Then they say just the opposite. They say the reason they're moving to Wright County is because Hennepin County has been so onerous with its regulations and everything. So I guess my answer to this question is I don't see problems in Wright County. I see a beautiful potential for a lot of economic development in Wright County because we are less rigorous on those regulations than Hennepin or any of the 7-county metro area.
Barry Kukowski, District 2. I think that the zoning requirements are pretty onerous on the businesses. Yes, the businesses in Wright County or in Hennepin County are moving over here, but at the same token, we're pushing more and more requirements on the businesses that are here, and that gets to be strenuous on them, especially if they want to bring their business here or start up a new business and they don't know about those other requirements. Because we're trying to compete. The planning and zoning is trying to compete with those requirements that are in other counties and say, well, we need those requirements too. Because the P&Z people come forward and say, well, there's some requirements that are going on over there, we can put that in place, and then there's a liability issue, and we'll solve that issue ahead of time. No, we don't need to do that. We've got too many requirements as it is, and it gets pretty burdensome. And also that ties in with the taxes are too high, and it's just getting too hard to have a business today. So we need to encourage more business, not with more regulations, not with higher taxes. Just encourage them to come out here and start up their business.
Pat Slowatsky, District 2. I think first we need to recognize that predominantly the business growth is going to occur within the city limits because that's where the infrastructure is. You've got businesses Generally, they're using more volume of traffic, obviously, than agricultural or residential, for example. They most likely need city service, other city services like sewer and water and those sorts of things. So generally speaking, they're gonna be in the cities, and we're gonna be talking about city requirements for what they need to do, and the county board doesn't have any sort of say in what the cities put in place. As far as what the county has for ordinances, quite honestly, most of our ordinances are ordinances that our state or someone else has placed upon us. You know, Charlie talked about the building code. Well, that's not the Wright County building code. It's the state building code. And it doesn't matter if you're in Wright County, the city of Buffalo, or southern Minnesota, that building code applies equally. So those are ordinances that we ultimately adopt, but we adopt because statute requires us to do so. So my expectation would be if you looked at regulations in Wright County, outside of the cities, that apply to businesses, by and large, you're gonna find things that are statewide sorts of mandates and controls, whether they be the building code or whether they be sewer and septic rules by the state of Minnesota or something different than that. You're gonna find that those have come down from the state, most likely, and that we've adopted them in response to that, the state or federal government.
As agreeing with him is, the building codes are state mandated, and every year you used to have to adopt the state building code, but you can do a perpetual easement or an ordinance where you adopt it automatically every year, which is somewhat of a burden to keep up with. But I always looked at in our township as our inspector that we hired. I told him, I says, you are not a cop. I says, you are not here to gotcha anybody who's doing anything. You are here to help this person build the best house for their family, best business building for their business within this district or over this county or township. It's the only thing that I see that is restricting us is that I was disappointed on our last comprehensive plan that our township, we did not gain any I-1 land. I had a person come to me who was looking for 40 to 60 acres of land that he needed to buy, which would never work within a city for his business. We had 40, 60 acres, but the guy didn't want to sell it. So that's the only land we have left within our I-1 district. We can't get any more until the next time we review the comprehensive plan. So that's part of it is what's restricting it, I think, within our areas too. Recently too, and 5 years ago, we had the Stockholm Karting Center started on our area. It was going to be here in Buffalo, but actually right over here, I think, and it got shut out by the city of Buffalo. I had calls from city administrators, city mayors. These are the worst people in the world, and I have not found that to be the people. They are settled in our township, and they are a good tenant, and they have a good tax base for us, and that's maybe the restrictions that we are putting on people.
Okay. Kind of not a softball, but something. That's a softball. Why are you running? What makes you the man for the job? And do you have any thoughts on how long you would plan on serving?
You're first, Larry.
Thank you very much. Obviously, the reason, I think I wrote in one of my pieces of literature, the reason I'm running, there was 100 million reasons why I was running to do this, and $100 million is about the budget Wright County has a year. And I think I have the life set skills, the experience in running a government body and supervising employees, attention to detail where I'd be good at this. You stand up here and brag about it, sounds like you're kind of a jerk, but I've done this for a long time. I've run a utility commission in Dunn. I've run there for 12 years, obviously with the board. It's like the city council, I worked with people in there for 16 years, so I've done this, I know how to do it, I know how to get along with people. I can be soft and cuddly sometimes if I have to be. And I liked the challenge of actually working with budgets and working with numbers. I like numbers, I'm a math guy, I've always been that way. Everybody hated me in school, but I like math, so that's why I'm doing it, so thank you.
I began my public service when I was asked to fill a position, a vacancy in town board, on the Township Planning and Zoning Commission. That evolved into the township eventually merging with the city, and the Planning and Zoning Commissions were incorporated also, and I ended up on the City Planning Commission. And shortly after that, I was elected chair of the Planning Commission, and I was the only borough member. So I've been involved with the planning and zoning issues on both the township level, the city level. I've also been involved, as I said earlier, with the Economic Development Authority in the city. I really believe strongly in economic development and bringing business and a tax base to the community, and I want to take that the next step. I see just a very, very strong opportunity for Wright County to get a lot of economic development right now, and I just really strongly believe in that, and I want to see the business community grow in Wright County here. I've also been a lobbyist at the state capitol, a citizen lobbyist, not a paid lobbyist, but a citizen lobbyist, for the last 4 years, working on agricultural issues and property tax issues. And so I've got what I feel is a broad base of knowledge on governmental affairs, on taxes, and agricultural issues, and city issues, and business issues. And I just want to take that on to the county. I think I can do a good job. I think I can serve the county, the residents of this county well, or I wouldn't go ahead and try and do it.
Again, Barry Kukowski, District 2. I'm a 20-year Army veteran service, and I want to run because I've served on city councils, planning and zoning, and annexation boards, so I have some experience in the government avenue. The military side of things gives me a strong perspective on getting things organized and getting things done, and I want to give back to the community. That's what I want to do. I think that we're paying too much in taxes, and I think that we need to stop, the government needs to stop growing so big. And I think that pertains right to the budget. The budget keeps growing every year. We see that 5 years ago, it's not anything close to what it is today. It's substantial, it's almost doubled, I think, is what it looks like. And I think we can make a difference. Well, I think I can make a difference by promoting both the freedoms and the liberties that I fought for in a foreign country, and that I want to stand for in this country. And bring that to the board and show them that this is something we can do right here in Wright County and make a difference that way. My priorities are to reduce or freeze the budget, because I think that's the biggest issue. A lot of money is being spent there. I was at a budget meeting this morning. I heard some wish lists by some of the head people there, head department heads. And I also would like to reduce some of the red tape that's going on out there that we talked about earlier and make it less difficult. Jefferson wrote that government is served best when it governs the least. And I think that's very important.
Pat Swatsky, District 2. If elected, I'm going to serve 4 more years and I'm done. The main reason I'm running, there's going to be at least 3 new commissioners on the board next year. There's a good chance there could be 4, and I don't think there should be 5. I think there should be some experience coming back. Barry opened the door for me on the budget. He says it's doubled in 5 years. Well, and also in the Journal Press, he said, and I'll just say what he wrote here. He says his main objective is to vote to reduce or freeze the county budget, since it has increased approximately 30% every year for the last 4 years. Well, Barry, that's not true, and you shouldn't write it if it ain't true. Let's talk about what it's done. I pulled it out because I've been working for a long time on keeping taxes low in Wright County. 2009, it was $97 million. 2010, it went up to $100 million. It went up $3 million because we brought a jail online and they're darn expensive, and we had $3 million more in principal and interest to pay.